The musical Gypsy hardly needs any introduction.
Why did I do it?
With its music by Julie Stein, lyrics by Stephen Sondheim, and a book by Arthur Lawrence, it's one of the most lasting gems of musical theater. The original Broadway production, starring Ethel Merman, lasted 702 performances and garnered 8 Tony nominations, although it did not win any at all. The cast recording did win a Grammy for Best Original Cast Album. Since then, Gypsy has been revived on Broadway 5 times, in 1974, 1989, 2003, 2008, and just recently with Audra McDonald in 2024, a testament to its longevity as a musical. But what about as a movie? The film was promptly adapted for the screen in 1962 by Warner Brothers, with Rosalind Russell as Mama Rose, Natalie Wood as Louise, and Carl Malden as Herbie. Arthur Lawrence, the original playwright, openly hated this screen adaptation and said that no money in all of the world could make him approve of a remake. Yet 31 years later, a made-for-TV movie adaptation with Bette Midler premiered with a more faithful screenplay, this time with the teleplay penned by Arthur Lawrence himself. How did the two screen adaptations compare? How have they stood the test of time? And, perhaps most importantly, how do Midler's and Russell's interpretations of Mama Rose compare to and influence the legacy of the character? Hello, welcome to Movie Musical Mania, the channel devoted to sharing a slice of musical cinema with the world. Please like and subscribe for more content like this. Today we compare and contrast the two Gypsy screen adaptations, paying special attention to the different interpretations of the character of Rose. But before we get into that, let's recap the plot that both of these screen adaptations follow. If you're already familiar, skip ahead to this timestamp. The story is a fictionalized account of the life of Gypsy Rose Lee, the famed burlesque performer. The story concerns Rose, a domineering and controlling stage mother, who puts her daughters June and Louise on the stage. June is billed as the star, while Louise lives in her shadow. After enlisting Herbie Summers as their agent and Rose's romantic partner, they tour the country and become moderately successful. Louise and June grow out of the childlike persona that Rose demands they present on the stage, and the act begins to falter. After the act auditions for the Orpheum circuit and fails, June runs away with Tulsa, a dancer who Louise developed feelings for. Rose then pours all of her energy into making Louise a great star, who, admittedly, has very little talent.
My name's Louise. What's yours?
After accidentally being booked at a second-rate burlesque theater, Louise ends up adopting the stage persona Gypsy Rose Lee and becomes, after some time, the highest-paid stripper in the business. Herbie leaves Rose, and Rose is jealous of her daughter's success and dreams of a life where she would have been a star under different circumstances. Louise and Rose, despite fighting bitterly, decide to reconcile their relationship. Now, let's hop into a comparison of the two different screen adaptations. The first screen adaptation of Gypsy was made by Warner Brothers, directed by Mervyn LeRoy, with Rosalind Russell as Rose. According to IMDb.com, Ethel Merman, the original Rose, Judy Garland, and Judy Holliday were all considered for the role of Rose, although this may only be speculation. Rosalind Russell finally won the role, probably owing to her skills as a comedic and a dramatic actress, as well as her recent success in the film adaptation of Auntie Mame. Ethel Merman was particularly mad about not being cast, and openly made fun of Russell's lack of vocal talent. Russell insisted she did her own singing afterwards, but was dubbed by Lisa Kirk. Russell's own singing voice can be heard in parts of Mr. Goldstone and Rose's Turn, as well as the cut song Together Wherever We Go. It was, of course, for the best. Here is a sample of Russell's untouched voice. And here is the dub in the final cut.
Goodbye to blueberry pie.
While Rosalind Russell was dubbed, Natalie Wood wasn't. Wood was famously dubbed in West Side Story the year before, but insisted she would do her own singing in Gypsy. Her numbers are, fortunately, not too demanding. She kind of shouts the song Together Wherever We Go because it was, allegedly, lowered for Russell's benefit, putting it out of Wood's comfortable range, but the song was cut from the final print for some reason or other. Perhaps Wood was dissatisfied with her vocal performance, or the movie was simply running too long. But LeRoy did claim it was shortened by 6 minutes to fit the request of Radio City Music Hall, which is probably untrue. Playwright Leonard Spiegelglass was hired to adapt Lawrence's script, not Lawrence himself. But the movie is still incredibly faithful to the stage material. There are only a few significant alterations, such as a voiceover narration from Rose, which does nothing whatsoever for the benefit of the movie. Uncle Jocko and Herbie are combined into one character, and June elopes with another dancer instead of Tulsa for no conceivable reason. Making June not run away with Louise's potential beau but some unknown figure is a baffling change. Rose meets Herbie earlier in the film and sings Small World, which does not make any sense. From a storytelling standpoint, Rose's motivation / I want song, Some People, should be first before any inklings of romance are introduced, like in the musical. In the final cut, Carl Malden as Herbie does not sing at all, as his part in Small World was removed, Together Wherever We Go was cut, and You'll Never Get Away From Me ends abruptly after one chorus before he is to join in. If you couldn't tell from how I talk about it, I don't really like this film when compared to the 1990s version. It's rare for a made-for-TV film to exceed what a feature film can do, but when the 90s film feels inspired, the 60s film kind of feels, boring, or at the very least, uninspired. All of the changes I've listed before are simply baffling and do nothing to benefit the material, and I am all for changing a musical to fit for the screen. Regardless, both adaptations are still faithful enough that it boils down to other factors. Undoubtedly, the 1960s film has higher production values than the 1990s adaptation. I really appreciate the dark, theatrical lighting and the use of color. The film doesn't suffer from rather flat lighting and sets that look like sets, which is certainly the biggest drawback of the 90s film. That being said, the camera is much more dynamic in the 90s adaptation, with more camera movement and a greater use of close and medium angles. I really enjoy the opening sequence that is the abridged overture conducted by Julie Stein, while the credits are displayed on the curtain. It's inventive and fitting for the material. Carl Malden's interpretation of Herbie is a man who is head over heels in love with Rose, and loses his wits because he is so enraptured by her. Blinded by his attraction, he believes Rose's shenanigans. At least partly. Rosalind Russell plays a more subdued Rose, which seems fitting for a movie adaptation. Her Rose schemes quietly, her offenses are less flagrant, and she is, consequently, more menacing. She is, like other Roses, enamored with stage success, but you really feel it with Russell's interpretation. She refuses to believe that vaudeville is gone forever. She excels at the tragic side of the character, the jealous, narcissistic stage mother who tries to live vicariously through her children, incredibly executed in the sequence where she thinks June might leave her.
Yes, don't you dare answer that phone when I'm yelling at you.
Did you hear what I said?
They're trying to
Rose?
take my baby from me. That's what they're trying to do. Well, over my dead body they will.
Perhaps the pinnacle of her performance is when she asks Herbie why everyone leaves her.
Herbie, why does everybody walk out?
Her manic drive is undeniably frightening. Some critics critiqued that she did not live up to Merben's legacy, but I don't think she was trying for a recreation, but a reinvention of Rose on the screen. I love Russell, Malden, and Wood in the movie, all of which I think are well cast. Their chemistry works, and I love their interpretations, although I believe Russell's dub detracts from her performance at moments when the audio doesn't always match up, most noticeably in the song Small World. She may be a good actor, but perhaps it is vital to have a Rose who can emote through her voice. The 1993 made-for-TV remake was directed by Emile Ardolino, and was seen as both a vehicle for Midler and a way to make up for the flaws of the previous adaptation, which, as I have said, was openly disdained by Arthur Lawrence. It was broadcast via a 3-hour special on CBS on December 12, 1993, and was watched by over 26 million viewers. This version, written by Arthur Lawrence himself, is incredibly faithful to the stage show, to the film's benefit. No musical numbers are cut, and everything is restored to the proper order. June now elopes with Tulsa again, which is a much more powerful story beat. Rose's useless narration is dropped, and Uncle Jocko and Herbie are, thankfully, restored to 2 separate characters. It is clear that this movie does not have the production values of the 1960s adaptation, but from a story and a performance standpoint, this movie knocks the ball out of the park. While both films touch on the same themes, such as the decline of vaudeville, what counts as real talent, and a mother's desires and dreams versus that of her children, this film concentrates a little more on the poverty that they face while trying to make it bigger than the other film does.
Rose?
You need new silverware.
This is interesting since stereotypically undesirable jobs like burlesque dancing are often indicative of a social class that is desperate for money.
Well, something has turned up, and this is it. Mama, we're flat broke.
In the 1962 film, June and company actually secure bookings on the Orpheum circuit, guaranteeing them a little financial security. But in the 1993 film, their only opportunity at the Orpheum circuit, offered via Mr. Goldstone, is wasted. It's less of a fall from grace and success story in this adaptation than a story of a mother struggling for fame and never succeeding. The 1962 film, instead, seems to concentrate on the decline of vaudeville.
This is only temporary. Just as soon as we finish here, she's going right back to vaudeville.
The performances in the 1993 adaptation jump off the screen, and the humor lands much better. Cynthia Gibbs' transformation from a young, innocent Louise to a successful burlesque dancer is impressive to watch, and this film lets her spread her wings more with the stripteases than Natalie Wood did. As put by Variety at the time of the 1962 movie's release, we see Wood go through the motions in a burlesque world that is prettied up in soft focus and a kind of phony innocence. Any resemblance to the art of the strip, and its setting, to reality is, in this film, purely fleeting. Perhaps the, quote, art of the strip returns for this movie. It's fun to see her talk and flirt with the audience, exhibiting her wit and her charm. This factor is inexplicably absent from the 1962 film. Peter Riegert plays a Herbie who is less infatuated with Rose. While both iterations of Herbie are in love with the idea of Rose rather than the woman herself, this Herbie sees through her shenanigans every time but can't help loving her. Here is Malden's take of a line in a moment where Rose is yet again falsely accusing another for her benefit.
What happened?
Mr. Kringline, the hotel manager, he tried to...
Again?
Compare it to Riegert's interpretation.
The hotel manager, he tried to...
Again?
Midler's take on Rose is nothing short of memorable. This Rose is loud, proud, and in your face. She will scream, she will lie, she will sneak, she will do anything to get ahead. Perhaps the best thing about Midler's Rose is how unstable she seems. She seems moments away from a mental breakdown, a moment we finally get in Rose's turn. She is demanding and exhausting. If I were Louise or June, I would be afraid of Russell's Rose because I wouldn't know what she was thinking or scheming. But I would be afraid of Midler's Rose because she might kiss me and then hit me. As put by Jonathan Taylor in Variety, Midler's Rose is explosive, riveting, and impossible, yet impossible not to love. Younger and feistier than Merman's Rose, with much of the insanity that marked the 1989 stage revival, Midler presents a stage mother who loves and tortures her two daughters with equal vigor. Midler is a wonderfully narcissistic Rose, one that leaves a more lasting impression than Russell's does. But don't just believe what I say. Let's compare 3 key scenes and celebrate the strengths of these two ladies. In fact, these are both Golden Globe winning performances, and they probably deserve it. Russell's interpretation of the number is more of a woman in a daze, distracted and busy with her dreams. She has just been abandoned by baby June. She seems absent, as if her dreams have put her elsewhere. Midler's Rose is manic, overcompensating for her sudden loss by descending madly into new schemes. She is, again, unstable and completely blinded by the lights. Midler is undoubtedly more Merman-esque and has the benefit of performing her own songs, so her emotions exude through her vocal performance. It is due to this that Russell's dub negatively affects her performance. Some of the emotion and some of the energy get lost. Like I said before, Russell's Rose excels in the dramatic and quiet moments. She broods, her emotions hard to get to, but powerful. Midler keeps the energy up until she asks why everyone leaves her, and even though Midler is a fine actress, I prefer Russell's gradual performance. This Rose wants to keep up a front, but can't, while Midler still seems to be keeping something from the audience. Russell's performance is much more dramatic and subdued, and her performance leaves me wishing there was something more. It simply feels low energy.
One tell me, when is it my turn? Don't I get a dream for myself?
Midler is experiencing a full-blown mental breakdown, and the sequence is incredibly powerful.
Someone tell me, when is it my turn? Don't I get a dream for myself?
This range of emotion seems absent from the 1962 rendition. While I prefer the 1993 film from a story and performance standpoint, I can also appreciate the 1962 film, which is far from bad. Rosalind Russell and Bette Midler bring very different interpretations to an iconic character, and both are successful in their own right. Both film adaptations are worthy of praise and critique, but turn to the 90s film for more dynamic cinematography, stronger performances, and an altogether better script, and turn to the 1960s film to see a beautiful use of color, cool sets, and just generally higher production values. Tell me which film adaptation you prefer in the comments. Thanks for watching. This was Movie Musical Mania. Please like and subscribe.